to Season 2, Episode number 22 of Pro Wrestling's Top 50. I'm your host, Travis McNeil, and today we continue our countdown of the top 50 matches in Impact Wrestling history with match number 29 on our list, which is the hair versus hair match between EC3 Ethan Carter III and Rockstar Spud from the March 13th, 2015 edition of Impact. This match was held in the UK, which is where Spud is from, and it had the benefit of an absolutely molten hot hometown crowd that was behind the underdog. This is a match that I think is a really forgotten about hidden gem. It got some talk at the time, but it's a match that I haven't heard mentioned at all, probably since 2015, and it is well worth the watch. And I love this match because it's a very effective use of blood. And I think blood can really be used in pro wrestling to elevate something to the next level when used appropriately. And this match is a tremendous example of it. You strip away the blood, it's still great and lots of fun, but you add that element to it and it just makes it so much better. And it creates so much more sympathy for the underdog that is trying to fight. They did a great build to this match. Rockstar Spud was, EC3's, running buddy, kind of like, not like a butler, but, kind of did his bidding for him and, was subservient to him. They eventually broke apart and it led to this hair versus hair match. EC3 had shaved the head of Jeremy Borash prior to this, who, is someone that they had established was friends with Spud. So Spud's, fighting for the honor of himself, standing up to this guy that's bullied him for a couple of years, is also fighting for the honor of Jeremy Borash too. This match is so great. They start out with just a frantic, awesome pace. Spud immediately brings the fight to Carter and jumps him at the bell, takes him to the floor, does like, a Samoa Joe like ole ole kick, but with a drop kick. But, Ethan's sitting in the barber chair at that point. He hits a somersault from the top to the floor, and it just really establishes that this dude is fed up and he's coming out guns a-blazing. They trotted Tyrus down to the ring, who, was basically EC3's bodyguard at the time, and he hits a brutal powerbomb to Spud on the floor, rolls him in. EC3 goes for a very nonchalant cover and only gets two. That leads to Mr. I was going to call him Mr. Kennedy, but Mr. Anderson in TNA coming out to hit the mic check on Tyrus on the floor and brawl with him to the back to show that this match was going to be one-on-one. So again, it just showed, Spud had EC3's number. He had to cheat, but again, he was too arrogant, and, it might end up costing him and biting him in the butt here. EC3 had like an elbow arm injury at this point. He had this huge brace on his arm, so he uses it to bust Spud open, and Spud does an absolutely phenomenal blade job here. He's so good at garnering sympathy, not just from his hometown crowd, but from the viewer at home. There's great camera work where he's, reaching for the camera, with blood pouring from his face, trying to suck you into the television that he needs you to help him will himself to victory. It's really good, and Spud's a guy that I think, has kind of been looked at, more in this managerial kind of role. He was the 205 Live GM in WWE. He did this stuff with EC3 and TNA. But he's also a really underappreciated wrestler. He's a great babyface, very much in the vein of like a Spike Dudley, where, he's undersized, but, he's got the tools where it can feel legitimate when he's beating these big guys too. And he's somebody that I think will really be overlooked, for his career as an actual in-ring performer. EC3 is just so good here. He's someone that during his TNA reign, TNA run, really did a great job just being a slimy heel that ascended to the top of the company. They did a run with him where he was basically like retiring all these legends. They would all have their last, TNA match against him, and one of those was Sting. So there's a great spot where he hits a Stinger splash on Spud, and Spud just proceeds to like slide down, Ethan's like chiseled body, like leaving like blood streaks all down his chest. Again, really, really great visuals. EC3, he taunts Jeremy Borash a lot through this match. That leads to a big spot where Jeremy hits a low blow, and Spud hits a stunner for a great near fall. He only gets 2 off of it. And just things really pick up. You know, EC3 starts bashing Spud's bloody head against the mat. That leads to a big Hulk up spot. The crowd is absolutely red hot at this point. TNA was on Destination America at this point, so again, kind of showing, you know, how they had fallen from their Spike TV heyday. So there's, you know, lots of black and white camera cuts, you know, once the blood really starts to flow. They miss it sometimes, so a little all over the place, but again, you know, did it take away from the match? Maybe a little bit, but it also added to that feel of, you know, you're watching this like visceral, you know, gritty thing, right? So, I mean, it was fine for what it was. So Spud mounts this comeback. He goes for sliced bread number 2, which is his finish. Ethan blocks it, takes him out with a brace shot for 2. Another, you know, super good near fall. The crowd is losing their mind. And it leads into a finish where Spud just, you know, in a last act of desperation and defiance, claws himself up Ethan's body, so much so that there's actually claw marks on Carter's chest from it, which I thought was great. And EC3 puts him out with the 1%er. The post-match here is so good though too, and if you look at it as one big package, it sets this match over the top. So after the match, EC3 cuts this, you know, amazing babyface promo. He's full of emotion. And he talks about, you know, how Spud was his friend and, you know, he didn't treat him well and he understands the error of his ways. And Spud proved tonight through no shadow of a doubt that he's got all of the tools to be, you know, a future world heavyweight champion. And it's just all so good and it's emotional. And Spud's, you know, standing there crying and the crowd's responding really well. And then EC3, again, just the ultimate in dickhead moves. Hits Spud with the brace again, proceeds to just beat him down with the brace, tie him up in a trio woe, and shave his head while he's bleeding all over the place. It was, again, just another visual, another great visual, and another just perfect kind of element to this feud and this overall package. This is a match that, when it happened, you know, like I said, it got a bit of talk. I thought it was great. Watching it back, you know, 6 years later, it's even better. This is absolutely a fantastic piece. I wouldn't have expected it to hit this top 50, and here we are. You know, it's in the top, you know, top 60% of it. It's absolutely great. You can watch it, of course, on Impact Plus. You can subscribe to the channel here on YouTube. You can follow along on Instagram and Twitter at Wrestling50, and you can please join me again tomorrow as we continue to count down Pro Wrestling's Top 50.